Welcome back, alchemists. This is the Wealth Principles, 52 Weeks to Wealth. We have been on this journey for now 51 weeks, so we've got 1 week left, but this one is a fire principle. Wealth Principle 51. Learn to love solving problems for other people and getting rich doing it. I'll say that one more time. Learn to love solving problems for other people and getting rich doing it. There's two components. This used to be a two-person principle because there used to be 104 principles. This one had to be combined together because there's a first part, which is learn to love solving problems for other people. Hands to the camera if you know, we're entrepreneurs. We get paid to solve other people's problems. That's the truth. We also are solving problems that are not our own. It's easier to solve problems for people when you don't have the same problem yourself. It's very good to have already solved the problem so that you now have a path and a process and a system to solve the problem for the other person. So if you are currently broke, I don't suggest teaching how to not be broke. Well, because you haven't figured it out, right? So you got to get rich first to be able to teach how to get rich. But if you are a real estate agent and you're looking to help other people buy real estate, well, that's easy. All you got to do is know the process for buying real estate. Owning real estate is not necessary. You must understand the process for buying the asset class. Understand that's what they teach us in school, right? They get the lessons. So the reason we're doing the wealth principles is because I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. We've already built 24 millionaires in the past, except one of the challenges is some of those millionaires, although they're like, I would build millionaires, are not necessarily actively out there building them. So we had to adjust our strategy, adjust our core principles in our company. Hence, you understand you may have to adjust your mission as well. You may have to adjust your message out to the world. So it's 100 millionaires inspired to build 100 millionaires, which is why we're now building community leaders. We're focused on that direction. And this is how we serve. Hands to the camera if you're committed to doubling your income and doubling your net worth. Still committed to this, right? We're making the money, but obviously we're doing it for a purpose. Hands to the camera if you will consider or at least dedicate some of your time to building millionaires once you've got yours. Once you got your wealth, you help others get theirs. Awesome. Give yourselves a big round of applause. I'm in the right room. Thank you so much for your dedication to yourself, to your community, to the people you're going to be serving along the way. Wealth Principle 51 did not come to me by accident. The first part of it, like I said, is you got to serve other people. The second part of it is you have to be okay with getting rich. There's too many people who are out there serving, giving, but they forget to take money. And they end up being givers and everybody's taking advantage of them and they have no money, nothing, no resources. Can't you know a few people like that? Maybe been one of them yourselves? An overgiver, right? Giving to the wrong people. They take from you, they take from you, they take from you. If you got a lot of people take it from you in your life, you might have been an overgiver. Nothing wrong with giving. I want to be very clear. I'm about giving, right? This whole principle is about serving, but you also must make time and room or a system in order to receive, because if you do not receive, you won't be able to serve. We just found that you want to jump on a plane to help other people, or there's maybe a mission that's happening in Africa or South America, but you can't get out there because you can't afford the plane. Has anybody ever thought about that? Right? Like there's something, oh my God, like right now, like 2 or 3 years ago, like there was this big hurricane in Florida. It was like last year. Big hurricane in Florida. All these people like were messed up. And I remember watching a video with Grant Cardone, and Grant was on this helicopter and he was flying over and he was like sending food and like helping people in that situation. I just remember thinking like, man, like I should have made more money by now because I don't have a helicopter and I haven't purchased all the food and I didn't have all those connections to be able to do it at that level. Hence, Karen, if you have ever felt something like that, right? And Grant's like famous for saying, be the one who can write the check. Right, you've heard me talk about when COVID hit, I was able to write checks for my family. I just sent checks because I was able to. I was in a position, they were not in the position I was in. They were in an opposite position. And I was able to send checks to my family, 13,000, 5,000, little checks, just help people along, move them along the way. And that was only because I'd established something in the past. I'd served enough people to get to that point. So let me tell you the story. So I'm on my way back from the gym. I crushed it, by the way. I went into the gym knowing, I told Dorina before I went, I was like, today I destroy these arms. I still did legs. I did. I went on the stepping machine for about 5 minutes and I did 13 flights of stairs. When I came home, yeah, that's right. I was pushing hard. When I came home, I started thinking about this wealth principle. I started thinking about, things that are happening in my life. I started thinking about the ads that Ron and I have been working on to be able to reach more people because it's our moral, ethical duty to serve at a higher level, build more millionaires, right? You can't do it without people. So I was just thinking about this principle. And I was thinking like, man, like I might be I might be failing. I might be letting people down in the sense that I haven't moved our message out and made it more available or more attractive enough to bring more people. So I that was bothering me. And I went back to my dad and I was just thinking like, who do I know who has always served with a big heart? And I went back to my father and I was just thinking like, yeah, man, my dad he's always been just the biggest giver. I remember one time we were at Walmart and he worked at Walmart, I worked at Walmart, and there was this award, and the award was this: the person who like was the most ethical, moral, caring person who represented like, because Walmart's old belief was respect for the individual. And so that was what this award was for, is the person who embodied respect for the individual, the other person, the person in front of you. And 400 people work at a Walmart, by the way. I don't know if you don't see them all, but there's actually 400 people, 3 different shifts. And we were all in this hall together. And they're talking about this award, why it's so important, why it's this, this great thing. I remember in my body, I still feel it, like in my body, I'm just like listening to everything they're saying. I'm like, oh my God, that is the award I want to win one day. I want to be the person who embodies what this award is all about. Wow. Like I'm just listening to it. And then I hear them say my dad's name as the person who won the award. And I remember just feeling this crazy amount of joy, and just like, I cannot believe like other people know how amazing my dad is. I'm not the only one. And every person in the store, because my dad has worked every shift. He's worked every shift, third shift, second shift, third shift for years. Like first shift, like he's done each one. He's been in that company for 15 years or 20 years now. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, like I heard the whispers. Every person was like, oh, yeah, of course. Now there were haters, right? Oh, he's a kiss ass. I heard the haters, but I heard all the people who were just like, oh my God, like it's so true. Of course it is. That who else lives at that level? And I remember thinking like super proud, like just my dad's amazing. And I was having this, conversation with myself, like, man, you were raised the right way. You had some great opportunities. But then I also started realizing all the pain of my childhood, all the things that I went through because of the other side of that relationship that my father had with, my mom, and the finances, the way they fought, and all the negativity that came up from it. And, the fact that all I ever wanted to do was fight and get out of my house. Never with my dad. I never had any issues with my dad. I always loved him. I always respected him. And I started realizing what the word love is, because remember, that's the second word in this wealth principle is love. Learn to love, or the third word, learn to love. I started asking, what is love? What is love? And I said, my dad must know what love is. So let me think back to my memories of what, my dad has shown love. My dad, his form of love has always been some form of work. Like I would know my dad loved me if my dad invited me to do something with him. Like if he said, hey son, we're going to go cut the grass. Like, come on. Like, I'm going to spend some time with you. I want to go cut the grass. Like I knew like that was my dad loving me. And then when we were sanding a car, because he owned a body shop, like I knew that was my dad loving me, because he'd be like, you can sand. And I'd be like, oh my God, you're going to let me touch one of your works of art, one of the things that you do. And when I bought my first house, my dad was there showing me love. He was there helping me get the plumbing right, getting the electrical right, doing the floors, installing things. When in the middle of the night, it started raining in my house because he and I messed up one of the soldering joints on a plumbing component, my dad drove down at 2 o'clock in the morning and made sure that the pipe was taken care of. And I remember like, okay, so I know what love is, but I don't think other people know what love is, because my dad always taught me that love is not emotions. My dad, he said, love is not feelings. He's like, feelings are not real, son. What's true love is commitment. An undying devotion to another human being, a commitment, a loyalty. It is a determination to see that person succeed. He said that the day I held you is the day I recognized what real love was. Because the day I held you, I knew that if anything ever came even close to hurting or damaging you or taking you off course, I would be there, and I would destroy anything that came in front of you. She said, I would protect you, I would build you, I would give you an opportunity, I would serve whatever you just tell me what you want to do, son, and I will be there to make sure it happens. And I remember when I started showing interest in music. I had no money, right? I was working at Walmart, paycheck to paycheck. And my dad, I told him I really want to play bass. I really want to be in a band. I really want to go out and do this thing. and I didn't have any money, and my dad had never bought gifts for me. My dad is not a gift guy, right? Hans Canfey knows 5 love languages. Gifts not my dad's love language. Right? He's quality time and acts of service, right? So when my birthday came up, I was 17 years old, 18 years old. My dad went and he bought me because I've been playing this guitar, this $100 bass guitar for years, just my fingers bleeding 4 hours a day. I get a little obsessive when I do things. Hans Canfey, you know, I got a little obsession problem, right? I get into building wealth. I build wealth all the way. I get into real estate. I go all the way. I get into coaching. I like all the way. Everything's got to have little communities. I'm going to go all the way into a lot of communities. So I start, I'm playing this thing for a year. And my dad says, let's go to the store. Let's go take a look at, he's like, what do you need? What would really make you feel like you could go on stage and do things? And he said, well, I would need a bigger amp, Dad. I'm playing on this little box. Right? I need a big enough amp to go out and play. And my dad said, okay, let's go to the store. I said, oh, I don't have the money yet, Dad. I don't have the money. I said, that's okay, son. We just want to go see what it would look like. Right? We want to go do some research, because just like, anything else, you got to go and know before you go and buy. You got to know what it looks like. You got to feel it. You got to hear the sound. But who knows? It could take a long time to find the thing, and then we don't even know what it costs. Right? We got to go find out what it costs. Hence, care if you have ever thought about this with your goals as well. So as my dad's showing me love, he takes me to the store. Right? We go around, and at one point, something clicked in my dad's head, because something the salesperson asked. My dad asked a very pointed question. He said, would this be good enough for my son to be on stage? Would he be able to use this on stage? Would he be able to go out there and play and be able to keep up with the other bands that they're competing with? Would this be the high quality equipment that he would be able to use? And the guy said, oh yeah, this would be more than enough. That's the word my dad always uses. As long as it's more than enough. My dad doesn't like to get just enough. It has to be more than enough in order for him to make a purchase. Hence, can't you feel the same way? It's got to over deliver, right? So my dad says, all right, we'll take it. Well, actually, first he looked at me and said, son, do you like this one? I said, well, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I need. And he said, would this be the one? Like, would this be the one for you? I was like, yeah, it's the one. I said, would you, all right, let's get it. Pick it up. Let's go. I'll bring it over to the counter. And I fought. So I remember my dad buys it, and like the whole entire time, this is the craziest thing. The whole entire time, I'm like, okay, when I come back, I'm going to buy that bass over there. I'm going to buy that guitar. It's a $500 guitar. And my dad said, grab it now. We're already here. And because he didn't want me to have an excuse not to do my dream, right? He didn't want me to have a reason not to go be the man that I was supposed to be. He said, you belong on stage. You want to be on stage. That's what you want to spend your life doing. I'm going to put you on stage. I can't do everything for you, son, but I can do this. I don't have all the money. I don't have all the knowledge or the connections or the relationships, but this I can do. And so I have to do it. He's like, that's what a father does. And it's care if you feel the same way about the people you're serving. If you can feel that way, if you can get to that level of like, that's love, right? You don't have to do it, but you get to do it, right? It's the opportunity to serve and solve that problem for the person who has the thing that you've solved in the past. My dad had money problems growing up. He gave a check to his parents every single day, no matter what. And that's what got me emotional, is I was just thinking, like, I've been through a lot. I have been through a lot to get to where I am today. And I don't mean in relationships. I mean in people not believing in me. I mean in fighting against all odds. I mean in not sleeping, pushing my body beyond what it should be pushed to do. I've gone days. I've gone weeks without sleep. I have built systems that scared the heck out of me and plugged them in, and they didn't work. I have had months where I lost $20,000, $30,000 at a time, months on end, no, like drowning, just the company like bleeding out and not knowing what it was going to do. Yeah, I've lost, I've lost relationships, but like as I was coming home today, like right around this thought, I started getting I was thankful, but at the same time, it is so unfair how much pain I've been through, how much torture I've been through. Not that anybody did it on purpose to me. No company I ever fought against, no competitor I ever went against, no client that ever talked shit about something that I was doing. Nobody ever had any negative thoughts towards me. They have their own bullshit that they're dealing with. I know that. I know, but I went through it. I was there. I faced every moment, and I pushed that pain down, and I didn't look at it. I ignored it. And as I was coming up the stairs today, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was just so thankful when I realized, like, I'm going to go into that office and Doreena's meditating. She's going to be pissed that I'm coming in because she doesn't like being interrupted when she's meditating. But I am so uncontrollably in pain right now from all the years of suffering that I've put myself through, that I know that when I show up in that room, she's going to take care of me. And all she did was hold me. And I cried. I let it out. I cried like a baby. I shook. My body was vibrating, right? I don't even know what was going on in her poor little mind, but like, I know that in this world, this business, this mission, this desire to serve others is going to hurt, because you're going to see people fail. People are going to talk shit about what you're doing. People are not going to believe in you. I know it hurts. And one of the parts that made me most emotional was, I'm asking you to do this. I'm asking you to go through the same torment that I went through. I'm asking you to face your demons. I'm asking you to be okay with trusting yourself and trusting other people. I'm asking you to take some risks. I'm asking you to do the math, right? I know how painful math can be, but I learned it. Look, I'm dyslexic. I've been accused of having Asperger's, right? But I've figured out socialism, not socialism. I figured out how to socialize. I figured out how to do the math. I figured out how to communicate with others. I'm an introvert. I'm telling you, I'm an introvert. But I figured out how to build a community of good people, how to serve good people, right? I have forced my body, my mind to extrovert outside of what it wants to do. I'm asking you to do the same thing. And I recognize how painful that is. I recognize some of you are still in a place where you don't believe it's possible to make the money that you're looking to make. I was there too. Every year that I go up against my mindset, every year that I go up against my belief system of how much I can earn, it hurts. It scares the living daylights out of me. I've done it before and it still scares me, right? I've earned at monstrous levels and I'm still terrified. I've made $1 million months, but when I think about making $1 million a month, every month, I'm terrified. It scares me. I'll be real with you. Now I know, like Mike Shine, my boy, is going to tell me, like, well, believe it, joy, like, that's what I work on. That's what I spend my time on, is believing it's possible and then doing whatever it takes to get there, as long as it's moral, ethical, and legal. So I just want you to know, like, the level I'm asking you to serve at and the level that I'm asking you to commit to your clients, the people you serve, I know the pain that comes with it. I'm not asking for small things, but you're the ones who said you want to get rich, right? You're the one who said you want to get to that next level. You're the one who said you want your net worth there, that you want your family to love you at this atrocious level of love and compassion and servitude and like being there no matter what. You want your kids to do amazing and see you do amazing so that they have an example to live off of, right? You want your community to be a little better because you showed up, because you existed, because you came this way. You're the one who's asking to be your best version of yourself. And I know the pain that it's going to cause. And I just want you to know that no matter how bad it gets, you're going to make it through, and we're going to get there together. So this wealth principle is deeply revolving around one thing, and that's love. That truly is, you must learn to love serving people. Because when my dad used to tell me, I asked my dad what purpose of life was. Hence, Cam, if you ever asked that question, what's the purpose of life? I was asking that shit at 8 years old. I didn't know why I was here. I was like, why the fuck am I here? I was mad. I hated my life, right? So I just asking, like, why? What's the purpose of life? And my dad would say it's to serve. And I thought he was full of shit. And I thought he knew it too. Like, that was the belief system I had as an 8-year-old child, was my dad would be like, oh, it's here to tell people about Christ and Jesus, and it's to serve others. And I thought he was full of crap. Has anybody ever heard wise advice and thought it was wrong? I thought they knew better. Years obviously went by of me listening to my dad say, we're here to serve, we're here to help others, we're supposed to share about the Bible. And also, my whole childhood, my parents would fight over the fact that my dad always wanted to help other people. They'd fight over religion, and they'd fight over money. So I had these 3 taboos that were always a source of pain growing up. Hence, if you know anybody who might have had one of those taboos as a source of pain, that is why Wealth Principle 51 was saved towards the end. There's only 52 Wealth Principles, and Wealth Principle 51 is the principle before Wealth Principle 52, which is to start all over and sharpen the saw, continue to improve yourself. Hands to the camp if you're ready to dive into Wealth Principle 51. Let's go all in. All right, Millionaire Wealth Principle 51 is to learn to love solving problems for other people and getting rich doing it. It is our moral and ethical duty to become the best versions of ourselves. Alchemist Nation is designed to help you get there. We have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in just fixing things, improving the system, building this community. If there's something that we're missing that you want, you let us know. We will eventually build it. It's how we serve. It's just like my father, when he said, what's stopping you from getting to your success level? Whatever it takes. He found a way to make sure that I never had an excuse. And before you know it, within 6 months of that conversation, me getting that equipment, I was on stage 40 times in 18 months. Every battle of the bands, my dad would show up, and my dad would show up like a badass, like a rocker. He would get the leather suit, the metal studded, like he had the stuff to make, he would show up like a fan. My dad didn't show up like the old guy in the group, so everybody knew he was my dad. He showed up like the guy who fucking loved the band on stage. Hands to the camera if you know that's showing up for somebody. That's how you do it. That's why when I see somebody on stage, when I see somebody building events and I have the opportunity to show up, I am there like a fucking fan. And I love it. I love seeing them on stage. I will be at 10X in 2 more weeks. I'll be at Grant Cardone's 10X in Las Vegas. And you will see me rocking 10X because I believe in what that man is doing. I know he pisses people off. Yes, he's aggressive. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have learned my first 6 figures. He showed me how to get sales done. He showed me how to communicate and do sales morally and ethically. So learn how to love solving problems for people and getting rich doing it. 5 reasons it works. Hence, Scam, if you're ready to write down 5 reasons this works, this is an exercise for you to apply right now. This is for motivation for yourself. And it also 5 reasons, 5 ways to fail. Reason number 1, personal satisfaction and a feeling of fulfillment. If you do not serve others, your life will lack personal satisfaction. You will, to the degree that you're serving others, if you do not serve enough, you will feel a lack of fulfillment. Who has felt those days where you woke up and you're like, you don't even know like why you're here? Like, I don't know what to do, bored, whatever. That is because you haven't served either the right people or enough. So reason number 1 to learn to love serving others and getting rich doing it is personal satisfaction, fulfillment. Reason number 2, it helps others build trust. When you serve first, other people tend to trust you. When you give first, people no longer think you're there to take. Right? When you're already showing up with the sign of giving, and you're serving others, a trust is built. Well, they've already put their end in. Like, I guess I gotta fulfill on my end at this point. Hence, Karen, if you feel that way, why does the bank give a deposit? It's because we want to know you got skin in the game, right? Like the only reason we require you to give us a deposit is because, like, I just want to know that you're bleeding too. We're putting our capital into this investment. I want to know that you're in it with us. It helps build trust. Why do we do all this coaching and all this training? Why do we do it for free? It is so that at the next level, when it comes time to do the difficult stuff, you already know you can trust us. Why do we give so much value in the beginning up front for free? It's so that on the other side, there's even more value, right? Creates trust. Hands to the camp if you understand. Reason number 2, to serve others, love serving it, is because it creates trust. Reason number 3, every problem that you're solving flies on the wings of opportunity. Right? The problem, the devil rides in the back of the opportunity, right? It's like, hey, here we go. Like recession, cool. All these recession-proof businesses pop up. You couldn't see them before, right? They're hard to see. But now when there's a recession, it's like whoosh, all these rise to the top. Invest in that. Hence, the camp, you're seeing it right now. Multifamily is suddenly the cat's meow. It's like, oh man, multifamily, that's the jam. I got to get into that space. Partnerships, right? Partnerships are so much easier to protect yourself and to scale up because we're in a recession, right? You need to be more protected. You need to be more thinking about, I got to do more because these things don't work. So multifamily partnerships make sense. By the way, Mike Shine's book, Fast Track to Millions, is out. I got a physical copy. Came in last night. So I'm very excited. So if you haven't already bought Fast Track to Millions, How to Profit Through Partnerships, this was written by not only an attorney, not only a real estate investor, not only a multiple business owner, but and not just a multimillionaire, but a really good guy. Who here knows Michael Shine, has been on a call with him before and learned something? Awesome. So if you haven't already purchased the book, Fast Track to Millions, now's the time to go on Amazon and write a review about Mike. I don't care. Don't read the book. Don't write a review about the book. Go on and write a review about Michael Shine, how he's impacted your life. Hands can if you can do this one small favor for somebody who's given you so much. Awesome. That is why, like, this market, this condition creates massive opportunities for people. So when you solve problems, just look at all their problems and say, what's the opportunity that comes with this problem? Hence, if we can commit to this, we love solving problems because it creates opportunity for us and for them. Number 4, financial gains from providing value to others. Oh my God. Every guru you've heard for years is like, you got to add value, bring value, show value to the marketplace, right? If you want to get rich, show value, bring value, do a value add, right? In real estate, we're like value add, repositioning. We add value. There's not a value add on the deal. I can't fix it. I can't make it better, right? Financial gains come from providing value to others. People value moving away from their problems. So you've got to fall in love with problems. I once had a plumber tell me, I love the smell of shit. Now, it's very vulgar, but I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, I grew up Christian. I don't swear at all. Now I swear a lot. But back then I did not. And I was very disturbed by the fact that he was like, I love, passionate about the smell of shit. And I couldn't grasp it. Hands can if you know why he was passionate about the smell of poo. The poo padoo. Is because this is what he told me. The worse it smells, the more I get paid, because the worse it smells, the less competition I have going into that house. The worse it is. Like, the deeper the poo, the more money they put in my shoe. It's just like he's a very wealthy plumber, right? You're talking about a guy who doesn't take plumber wages of $150 an hour. This is a $325 an hour guy, because all he messes with is poo. He figured out, like, I only deal with septic and sewer. He's like, I don't deal with the fresh water that all the other plumbers want to deal with. And if you understand, this is a guy who not just loved prom, he fell in love with proms. He Cupid was like, whoop, big prom with poo. And he was like, I love it because it puts a lot of money in his pocket, right? Fantastic. Very smart guy. Hence, if we understand reason number 4 of why we must learn, solve problems, love solving problems. Number 5, the positive impact you can have from solving problems leads to a sense of purpose. If you have ever felt undirected, not knowing where you're going, not knowing what your point in being here is, like I felt this morning. And then when I shifted back to what problem do I solve, and I faced all that pain all at once, I remembered my purpose. I'm here to make sure other people don't suffer the same way I suffered. So an easy way to look at that is look back 5-10 years ago from where you are today and look at the pain you were suffering, the problems, whether they're financial or physical or they were relational, and look at the pain you had back then. That's probably the problem you solve today, because you've probably, by the way, if you haven't accomplished it or fixed it, that's not the one. Keep looking for the one you're good at. And if you understand, you should be good at solving people's problems as well. Don't just try to go out there and solve problems, but make the problem worse. That's why I can't stand people who, talk about money when they don't got money. Frustrates me. Do not teach money until you got money, right? But you can teach being on a path of building wealth yourself. You can show others, look, I'm on a path to build wealth myself. I'm doing it through real estate. I also got a real estate license and I'll help you buy your house. All of this makes sense. It gives you a sense of purpose, right? So reason number 5, to serve others is that positive impact you can leave, not just on the people you're serving, but maybe the world. Just maybe, think about it, a little outside. And if you're kind of like where I started, I used to say this to myself because I couldn't think about the world. Hence, care if the world's a big place, 8 billion people, kind of a lot of square footage, hard to think about fixing the whole world, right? I used to say, I'm going to fix my little corner. That's all I said. I'm just going to fix my little corner of the world. Now, over time, my little corner has grown. I have a little bit more impact, and now I'm teaching people how to have a little more impact, but I still do just serve my little corner of the world. I don't have to compete with Tony Robbins. Like I told Doreen this morning, Tony is not my competition. He's He's literally my companion. Like, he's out there serving the same mission that I want to serve. Grant's my companion. They're serving the same mission. The only reason I even do this is because they're missing a couple of people. Those are my people. That's my job, is to go and serve those people, the people who are missing, who aren't all in on the Tony Robbins, the Les Browns, the Tai Lopez, the Grant Cardone. Like, they can't quite all, like, it doesn't encompass everything they're looking for. That's who I serve. Hence, Karen, if you don't mind serving your little corner of the world, the people who everybody else is missing, the people who everybody else is not getting to at that level that you could get them to. That is, so reason number 5 is to me the reason I still do this, because I'm wealthy enough and my lifestyle is cheap enough. You know, Kevin Pereira understands my lifestyle. I will go and play StarCraft for 4 hours. I'll be in the gym for 2 hours. I'll spend 2 hours making Darina happy, and then the rest of the day I'm reading a book or on a call with somebody talking about something that I did. Like, that's my lifestyle. Right? It doesn't take much for me to jump on the podcast and do the things. So, like, financially, I've been retired for 7 years. What I do this for is because of a purpose that drives me because you can ask my business partners, like, not all of our decisions are financial. And sometimes we do things that do not make us money, but they serve the mission.